Yo guys, what's going on? This is Yoki Man here. Welcome back to another season recap of this Project PSV save we're doing over on Twitch. If you aren't following me on there, go and give me a follow so you can watch this live when you can. But this will be the recap for you. If you didn't watch episode number 1, go and watch it, catch up with what happened in season 1. But now we're going to have season 2 for you. Now we've made quite a few changes in this. We stuck to our philosophy of being a selling club, a team a little bit like Dortmund. We're kind of a stepping stone side, but we build with great young players that are going to bring this just exuberant style of football into the club, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying the way we play. Now, after last season with all the draws we had to come up with a new tactic this year, so there is a new tactic as well to go through, but it has been a brilliant season here in Eindhoven. It's been fantastic. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. You could obviously tell that when you're watching the Twitch live streams, and I can't wait to show you guys what we managed to achieve this year. We did lose some big players. We brought some decent players in as well. So without further ado, let's take a look at how we got on. So here we are, guys. PSV Season 2 is done and dusted, and let's just look at the glory of what we did. We got ourselves a treble this year, guys. Now, I wouldn't usually call this a treble because of the Dutch Super Cup, but at the end of the day, FM counted it as a treble, so I'm going to take it as a treble. Now, let's go through how we managed to achieve it, the players that we used, the players that went, and also the tactic that allowed us to achieve this. And let's start with the first trophy we won this year, the Dutch Super Cup. So we won the Dutch Super Cup here against Ajax, which made it all the sweeter, obviously, on penalties. We went 2-0 down and had to come back from 2 down against Ajax, and they absolutely dominated us. We did start off using our old tactic. We didn't go counter like we have in recent years. I kind of believed in the team this year, and I thought, you know what? We're good enough this season. We're going to give it them. And what we found out is no, we're not. So I had to change the tactic halfway through, but we managed to get to penalties. And surprisingly, we were really good at penalties this year, and we managed to beat them on the penos and go and lift our first trophy, which was a great way for me to start the season after changing quite a lot of the squad, well, not having much choice and really condensing the team this year, as you'll find out, which I don't know if it affected us or not. It's the first time I've done that, really, gone with such a small squad. I'm just channeling my inner Bielsa, really. But we managed to pick up our first trophy here with the Dutch Super Cup. So, Champions League football for the first time, and this was really what made it strenuous. I went with a 23-man squad this year, which isn't what I'd really usually do. That's youth included as well. We had no more players than the 23-man squad. There was no youth promoted. A lot were loaned out. So we really relied on the 23 men that we had in the squad. And there was a big qualification process to this. We didn't really play anyone difficult. We qualified quite comfortably. And in the end, we got a favourable group, you could say, maybe an easier group. But you've got to remember, we took on Porto, who knocked us out of the Europa League last season. Besiktas and Zenit aren't easy teams, especially to go away to. We only lost once. We lost once to Besiktas, but we did get our sweet revenge over Porto. We managed to beat them twice, and one of them a hugely embarrassing 6-0 defeat to us at home. It was fantastic. I loved every moment of it because Porto, obviously, I felt we were the better side when we got knocked out. I didn't mention that, and I really did feel like we were the better team that got knocked out of that Europa League. I mean, it should have been us in the final, but at the end of the day, we got our revenge in this one, finishing top of the group, which usually gives you a bit of a more favourable draw. But I've got to be honest with you, coming into the Champions League, I would have been happy if we'd have been knocked out because I weren't expecting to get through. I weren't expecting as easy as a group, I will admit that, but I weren't expecting for us to get far in the Champions League this year. So when we did, I was just over the moon. And the first knockout round presented AC Milan, a game that I knew was going to be very, very difficult. And they beat us at home. And I was thinking, this is our home tie. This is usually where, in knockout stages in the past, where I'm dominant. I know the home game I'll probably win, and the away one I might suffer, but just make sure I win more in the home and not in the away. So for the first time, we were going to have to go to Milan and try and beat them. Now, at this stage, I already said several times in the stream, I felt like we were going to get knocked out, and I was just happy that we made it to the knockouts. We ended up beating them on penalties, and we should have handily beat them on the day. We just had a bit of poor finishing, but we went and took them on penalties, and we managed to get through. And I was over the moon with that, to be honest with you, because another penalty victory. We're in the quarterfinal in the Champions League. The first time we're back in it, quarterfinals already. I couldn't believe it. This 23-man squad, and young as well, so I find when you've got an inexperienced squad, squad, they do make a few mistakes, a few more mistakes, and we just really did well here. Really impressed with it. So after AC Milan, I definitely was fully in belief we were going to get knocked out when we played against Real Madrid. I was in that much belief that during the first leg at home, the first leg away, I went and made a cup of coffee on stream. I was making a brew in the kitchen while the lads on stream was watching the first leg. And to my surprise, I came back to us being 2-0 up. We then made it 3. We went 3-0 up against Real Madrid away, and they scored a late goal with Benzema. And unfortunately, the home leg, where I would usually favour myself, we were awful, and they managed to beat us 4-0. Still a massive achievement for the boys and a massive achievement for the club to be the Dutch side that made it the furthest in the Champions League, and also to have made it to the quarterfinals. I was really proud of the boys, to be honest with you. Frustrated at the 4-0 defeat, but at the end of the day, we did so well to get where we were with the squad we had. And speaking of the squad we had, this was the squad we had. Now, we made some changes this year. I made some key changes, to be honest with you, and you'll notice that there's some key names that aren't in the side. So let's look at the players that left first, the big names that left the team. So the biggest of names to leave us this year was Donald Marlon. Now, I really didn't want to lose him. At this stage that we lost him, I was trying my hardest to keep him. We signed him to a new contract this year, which obviously made us get a bit more cash than expected, I suppose, which was handy. But at the end of the day, I had to stick to my guns knowing that we would sell these players if we needed to, and Man City came in with a fantastic bid for the 23-year-old, and he wanted to go 45 million. He was having a good season, 11 appearances, 7 goals, 2 assists, 1 man of the match, 7.41 rating for Man City once he went there. But for us, he was having a decent time. He had 10 goals in 18, and I was happy with him. But unfortunately, 45 million, not to be sniffed at. Too big for us to turn down, and eventually he made the move to Man City. I'm just happy that he's doing well there, and when we come up against him, I hope he does dreadfully, but I'm just happy that he's doing well there, and it was his time. He deserved the move. Another man leaving the building was Mario Götze. I just tried to get the most I could, and as you can see already, he's at Hoffenheim and already listed to be sold again. They're trying to make more money than what we did, but for me, Götze just didn't have the final product last time out. I think he scored, 1 goal in the entirety of his time with us last season. In fact, it says he didn't score at all, but he did. He scored continentally, so he'd never scored for us in the league, and 13.5 million. I was going to snap their hand off. Plus, he was on a wage that really I didn't want to be paying at PSV. Another player that left the club, one I didn't really want to leave, he went in January like Marlon did, was Henrik. And I'm a fan of him. I think he's a great player. He's gone on to Burnley and now he's worth way more than what we got for him. We got 14 million, but we had so many players in that position and young players that were going to be able to start getting some game time that it just made sense that we cashed in. And probably the last of the big transfers out is Bruma. Now, I actually enjoyed using Bruma in the save, and he was pretty decent for us, again, in his first season back after being on loan at Olympiacos, and I actually quite liked him. I quite liked him because in this year's game, I do value pace quite a lot, and the man is rapid. He's technically sound as well, and he's rapid, but at the end of the day, he wasn't being used that much. There were a few other players that have stood up and just been better than him, and for 11 million, it just made sense. There's a future fee as well, so we let him go to Watford. He also was on a huge wage for the amount he was playing, and I have this big thing with wages in this save. We only pay a certain amount of wages. We'll only pay so much for a player. There are no superstars in this squad. We are a team, we are a unit, and unfortunately, he just didn't fit into that. So we sold him on. So as it likes to be set up very interestingly, there are a few players that came in on the first that count on last season's transfers in. You can't see them right now because my head's in the way, but we're going to go through them real quick. Sportiello was a free transfer and was our starting goalkeeper this season. Absolutely fantastic from Atalanta. It was an upstep from Unastal, who we sold, and I was really happy that we managed to get him in. And then, to be honest with you, we signed Karamoko, who eventually we let out on loan. He's okay. He's just kind of solid, but he's not fantastic. He's not going to be around forever. Malayuda, another player we signed, who I thought maybe could be great for us, but he's been a bit hit and miss. He might end up leaving. We might keep him around. The new formation we're playing, when I signed him, we weren't playing this way. He kind of fit into like a glove. He doesn't fit as much in the new formation. Speaking of a player that didn't fit in the new formation is Peglo. Arguably, my player of the season. Peglo is a player that I've known about for a few years on FM. I've always liked him. He's a fairly decent player. Now, you wouldn't expect, you're looking at his current, and this is a good lesson to you guys for current abilities and these stars. This FIFA mindset of, oh, the stars mean everything, because they don't. They don't mean everything, because this lad, by rights, is not a complete forward on attack. Well, sorry, on support. He's a cam, and apparently he's not that good. He's not that good compared to the other team players. He's not that good, is he? But at the end of the day, Peglo this season, with 31 appearances all told, managed to score 16 goals for us, with 7 assists and an average rating of 7.10. Standout player of the season in a role that he didn't know how to play that role, and apparently he didn't look good star rating wise. This is why you should trust your gut, trust your attributes, and then you'll have moments like this that vindicate your decision. And honestly, I'm over the moon. The man was fantastic. He was reliable. He got big goals when we needed him in big moments. He was just fantastic. And at 20, I cannot wait to see what we get out from him, because he's been brilliant so far for us and has walked into that forward role when Marlon left and just dominated. I love this man. Speaking of loving players, probably a player that I never thought I'd sign at PSV. I never thought I'd pick him up on a free transfer. I'm actually tempted to make an individual player video just on him because of how amazing this guy has been this season. Now, in the chat, a lot of people were like, maybe you shouldn't get Demarai Gray. Oh, Demarai Gray, he's not very good. We picked up Demarai Gray on a free. He's now valued at 33.5 million, so as a club that wants to make money, we might make some money on him. He's also actually wanted at this moment in time by Sheffield United, and I don't think they can stump up the cash for him. I mentioned that we scored 3 goals against Real Madrid, and this was the man to score them. This season, he has blown my mind. An average rating of 7.12. He scored 19 goals from left midfield with 10 assists and 8 man-of-the-match performances. For a free transfer, he is the best bit of business that we did this year. And he has been unbelievable. And I just can't wait to use him again this year. At 25, I hope no big bid comes in, because we'll be a worse off club. Worse off club is definitely not a good sentence, but we'll be a worse club without him. And I will miss him. Honestly, guys, he's a free transfer at the end of the first season. Leicester don't value him, but he is extremely valuable. Go and pick him up. If you can get him, go and pick him up. Right, so I've shown you my 2 favourite transfers. I had to get that in there because it was amazing. Let's look at some of the other players that went out and left the club this year. Not too many. You've got Buscali, who left. Gapapo left. Ritsu, who came back. Unastal. Bamgartel left, Sangare left. Like, we did make a lot of little fees on a lot of players. We also signed Timothy Weah, who joined the club, and we loaned him out for the season. He's going to be back for this season. I'm excited to see what he can do. I actually rate him. He's another one who just ignore the bloody stars. I think he could be a very good player for us. He's not going to play there. He's going to play up top. And I'm kind of excited to see what he can do. I think especially as an advanced forward, he could cause a lot of problems. He's getting quicker as well, so that's a good signing for us. And I must mention, on Wonder Kid Watch, we've actually managed to find ourselves the first youth academy player that I've had this year on FM that is a certified beast. Mike Cassels looks unbelievable. Yeah, he's a bit slow, but he looks fantastic. He's getting better and better. Probably will start to get some game time this season coming up, and I'm excited to see how he does it. Look at him. He's excited as well to be part of such a great side. Yeah, I'm just intrigued to see what he does. In non-competitive, he scored 46 goals. All right, it was against nobodies, but still, 46 goals. So some of the other players in, and we did some great business. As you can see, we made 118 million. We spent 45 million, and some of it was towards the back end of the year. Ugrate came in right at the start. Great free transfer, 21 years of age, already valued at 26.5 million, and having quite a lot of game time this year. Really excited to see what he can do as the future goes on. Aaron Hickey, unfortunately, has recently broken his leg, so that's frustrated, but he's got a release clause in this year's game that's very decent. We brought him in. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Renato Tapia, again, ignore the stars. This man came in and was such a solid backup, as well as getting himself 3 goals this year. Was fantastic for us. Obviously, we're playing him at centre-back. He was really handy to have. Timothy Weah, as I've mentioned, for 4.4 million. And then we started to spend a bit of cash. This is the first time we spent a bit of cash, and it was obviously on young players. We didn't overpay, I don't believe. But with Gutierrez and Hendricks, you know, basically out the door, I wanted to see what we could do youth-wise. And we signed Martin Palumbo. I mean, he's not valued great at the moment, but he's just going to get better and better and better. And he looks decent already. He had a fairly good season, giving him 21 games of game time. And he's going to keep getting more game time as he comes on. Joshua Zirkzee, I imagine most of you have heard of him. This one kind of folded in line. Marlon was leaving. Zirkzee was unhappy. He was getting no game time. He was fairly cheap, to be honest with you. The biggest amount of money we've spent, and probably will spend, in this save, if I'm being 100% honest. I don't think we'll spend much more than around the 20 million mark, if we do even spend that. But yeah, he's a fantastic player, we know that. And with him being Dutch, I thought it made sense to bring him back home, and I'm excited to see how he gets on. It was a hard year for him to get into the squad, and I feel for him a little bit because he came in, big transfer fee, especially for the club, and really struggled to get into the team. As I mentioned, with Peglo doing so well as the complete forward, Maximilian Romero had an unbelievable year again, and every time I look at this guy's attributes, I think, you're not good, you're not good, you're not good, you're not good. Well, he bloody is, because he scored 28 goals this season for us, 4 assists. He was our top goal scorer in every competition, and he did the business every time he played on the pitch, even as a super sub sometimes for Zirkzee. So although Zirkzee came in and he did all right, there's just no getting over Maximilian Romero. It's unbelievable how well he keeps doing. When I look at his technicals, I'm like, it's not very good, but he's off the ball just carries him. He just always gets in the right position. So I would really value off the ball this year, boys, for your strikers, because it just seems to be so key. Average rating of 7.16 and a brilliant player for us. And last but not least, we've gone back to Udinese, done a little bit more business with them, and signed Gasparini, a young goalkeeper who I'm expecting to be our starting goalkeeper in the future. Sportiello will probably still be the starter next season, if I'm being honest, but Gasparini looks really good. He looks like he's going to be a solid player and probably our goalkeeper then for the rest of the save. I'm excited to see how he progresses. But yeah, we needed another goalkeeper because our backup, the Swiss lad, was going back anyway, 2-year loan. I don't think he ever even played for me once. But I wanted a backup goalkeeper, and I think Gasparini actually played more games in the end for the club than Mvogo, is it? Played for the entirety of 2 seasons on loan. Right, well, now we've got through that, let's talk about the first real bit of silverware we got our hands on this year, and it's the Dutch Cup. And we won it fairly comfortably, and I think we had the hardest run through because we had to play against AZ and Feyenoord. We didn't have to come up against Ajax again, but it was still very difficult. Feyenoord in the final, which we won, Joshua Zirkzee with the goal in the 65th minute. Zirkzee again and Peglo to beat AZ in the away game there in the quarterfinal. It was a handy victory, but I mean, there's games like this Groningen one where we went 2 down. The Mari Gray, Romero and Peglo saving us in that one, and as I mentioned with Peglo, he scored quite a lot of important goals there. He scored the winner against AZ. He scored the winner here against Groningen. So it was really important this year for us. He really was. I honestly can't stop singing his praises, the conversion we got. But yeah, we managed to win the Dutch Cup, and I was really happy with that. And then, last but not least, the Eredivisie is now in the hands of PSV, and it was a very difficult one. And I do feel, and the lads on the stream were saying, why do you feel bad? But I felt a little bit bad for AZ, to be honest with you, because with us having a 23-man squad, it being a long season for us, we played a lot of games, way more games than anybody else, getting to the cup final, how far we did in the Champions League, the qualification for the Champions League. We played a lot of games this year to have a 23-man squad for it. It was really impressive. But at the end of the day, AZ were top of this league from the 3rd match day to the 33rd match day. That's when we overtook them. So, I mean, by the skin of our teeth, did we win the league this year? And the most important part, I think, was this formation change. Mentioned a few times last year, we just drew too many games. And do you know what? AZ drew the same amount of games this year as we did last year, and we finished 2nd. But this year, we managed to only draw 4 games. We lost 3, which was frustrating. And when you look at it, we lost to AZ twice and NEC 3-0, which was just ridiculous. But we had a couple of blips. We did play AZ twice after Champions League games, which was frustrating. So we'd rotate the side. But what was good this year was how clinical we were when we won games. When you look at it, we scored 78 goals. That's more than anybody else in the league, only conceding 21, the 2nd best defence. We also had a goal difference of 57, obviously. It was fantastic to see that we punished teams more this year. We didn't just go one up and then concede again. We really did look to punish the sides when we were in front. But the key reason, really, in my mind, and I can't take too much credit for why AZ did lose the league this year, Bodu. Bodu got sold in January, so the heartbeat of their attack got ripped out in January, which for me was a blessing in disguise. But Bodu went to RB Leipzig. Yes, they made a lot of money, but in the Dutch league season for them, he finished top goal scorer. He left in January, and he finished top goal scorer in the Eredivisie this season. He had 25 goals in 25 appearances for AZ before he left, and that kind of just showed you how well he was doing. I was even saying in stream several times, I wish they'd just sell him. The sooner he goes, the better it is for me, because we're really going to struggle. He scored 3 against us when they beat us 4-1, and the game was extremely even. He was the difference maker. He was the difference maker for AZ. And unfortunately, they did lose him in January, and it cost them. Cost them the league, in my opinion. If they'd have had him, there's no way they would have drawn as many games. There's no way they wouldn't have been as clinical, which they weren't. And we got lucky, but we lifted the Eredivisie, boys, and I didn't know if we were going to do it in this year. Ajax had a terrible year. Willem too had a great season. Utrecht getting better. This is going to be a tough league season in, season out. I feel confident now we've won it once, though, that we're starting to build a squad that could win it several times, hopefully. And it's nice to see that after 2 years of dominance, Ajax have lost it again. And after 2 years without the shield, I was going to say trophy, without the shield, we've got it back. And this was the squad that did it. And they did it fantastically, and I was so happy. But most importantly, the tactic we used for it. We went 4-4-2, believe it or not. Now, my whole mindset was I need a formation with 2 up top. I need a formation with 2 up top because we didn't punish sides enough last year. We couldn't score enough goals. How do we score more goals? Let's have 2 strikers on the pitch. But then that meant we had to change our whole mentality. Now, with the plus side of Damari Gray coming in, I knew left wing was covered. He's brilliant at left wing. I knew that was covered. And for a lot of the year, we chopped and changed for moments, but we settled on a wide playmaker. Never used a wide playmaker before, but Mohamed played it beautifully. It was devastating when he got injured. I was devastated on stream because I knew him being injured, he was the best player to play that position. We kind of built that role in this system for him. And Mads just isn't as good. And coming back from his broken foot, he just wasn't quite there. He's getting there, and he can definitely play that role. He needs to improve his vision. But I knew that we were going to struggle after that. But we managed to get over the line. That's all that matters. But yeah, this is what we came up with. And it worked extremely well. Now, it's a weird one because it doesn't give you many positives. It gives you a couple of negatives, but it got the job done. We played this all season. The only changes we made is when we come up against a side that was going to attack us, we do pass into space instead of run at defence because I knew there'd be space in behind. And every now and again, we chopped and changed the line. Sometimes we'd have a high line of engagement if we were playing a side that I thought we could beat. If not, I'd go standard. And if I was dominating against a side that I thought we could beat and we couldn't score, I'd go standard. And I am a big believer of less is more on Football Manager. I've always liked to play that way. And once you've built a squad and you've got a good side, less definitely is more in this scenario. And it worked for us. We scored the goals we needed. It was fantastic. I was really happy. There's a few issues with the fullback ratings. I think we already all know that. And when it comes to average rating, it really does hinder players like Denzel Dumfries because he weren't that bad. In fact, if the ratings were better, he'd have had a better season. I think it was a bit unfair, but all told, this team did fantastically. I'm not really looking to move anyone on out of this squad if I can help it. The only players that potentially might move is Pato and Wu Lee, and we would sign one more striker. But Mike will probably be promoted, and obviously Timothy Way has come back. So I'm not really looking to make many changes to this squad. I'm very happy with it. Now, we've got a £50 million transfer budget, which is decent. And we know full well that we could do with another right winger and a left winger at a push. But all in all, this will be very similar for next season. We won't be making too many changes. We'll be kind of going with this again. With it being such a young squad, they're just going to improve season in, season out. Although I am very aware I might not be able to hold on to everyone. So when I say this now, this might not improve that much. We might not change much. That could be all up in the air because we could have to, make loads of changes with transfers, with players going out. But anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this recap. I've enjoyed bringing it to you. I had to record this twice because the first time I didn't hit the record button and I'm an absolute moron. I appreciate all the support, guys. I hope you're enjoying it. Please go and check me out on Twitch. If you are one of the PES guys as well watching this video, we've started doing a PES Master League over there as well. I'm putting quite a lot of effort into the Twitch stuff at the moment because I've got quite a good follower base over there as well as growing here on YouTube. I appreciate you all, guys. Take it easy. Have a blessed week. I'll see you later.